Imagine coming home after weeks away, only to find the locks changed, your wife inside with another man, and you, watching from the outside like a stranger. That's exactly what happened to me. But instead of losing control, I did something no one expected. Want to know how I handled it? And what I did next? Don't miss a second of this story. If you want more crazy real-life stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe, watch full story, and tell and comment. What would you have done in my place? Let me know in the comments. Let's go to the story. Something felt wrong during our phone calls. Vivian stopped asking about my day, her interest fading. When I shared good news about my project, her replies sounded empty, rehearsed, like she was just exhausted from work. She'd say it was just the job wearing her down, and I understood. After all, I'd been the one who helped her climb the career ladder from scratch. What she didn't realize was how much I'd poured into her success. That would come up later. The first real warning came 3 days before I returned home. During our usual evening call, I caught male laughter in the background. When I asked, Vivian brushed it off as the TV. But I knew our TV's soundbar, which I'd set up myself, and that wasn't it. This was a real voice. She hung up soon after, claiming a headache. I landed at the airport on Thursday afternoon. No reply to my text announcing I'd arrived, which was odd since Vivian always responded quickly. The Uber ride home dragged on, and more things stood out. Her location sharing, part of our family plan, was off. Her Instagram stories showed our living room from strange angles she'd never used before. When my key wouldn't turn in the door, I thought it was jammed. It took a full minute to realize the lock was new. Standing there, suitcase in hand, a strange calm settled over me. 8 years of marriage, and my wife had changed the locks while I was away. Then her text arrived. She'd found someone better and told me not to bother coming in. She'd moved on. The timestamp showed she was typing while watching me through our security camera, sitting on my couch in my house. I took a deep breath and replied, asking if she was sure. Then I walked away, pulling my suitcase. No yelling, no banging on the door, just silence as her typing dots flickered on and off. I checked into a nearby hotel and called my friend Damien. Within an hour, he'd uncovered what I'd missed. Vivian was seeing Ezekiel, a client from her firm, spotted together at restaurants over the past month. Here's where it gets intriguing. Ezekiel had a pattern of dating married women like Vivian, always when they were nearing big career leaps. While Damien explained, I logged into our shared cloud storage. Vivian, never tech-savvy, hadn't changed the passwords I'd created. There they were, photos of her and Ezekiel in our home, going back 3 weeks. But she'd overlooked something critical in her rush to replace me. My phone buzzed with her text, saying I was taking it better than she expected, no fight for our marriage, and she was right about finding someone better. I smirked, thinking of a document I'd just found in our cloud drive, one she'd forgotten about from when I helped set up her investment portfolio last year. I sent a screenshot to my lawyer and texted her back. Give me 4 days, and we'll see who's better off. Her reply was instant, asking what I meant. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and emailed some old colleagues. By midnight, I had everything needed to show her what she stood to lose. For now, I savored the constant buzz of my phone as Vivian tried to guess what I knew. The best part? She had no clue that the comfortable life she was flaunting with him, on my couch, rested on foundations she was about to destroy. Let her enjoy her better choice for now. In 4 days, she'd face consequences she never anticipated. Update. Thank you for the support on my earlier post. It's kept me grounded. Here's what unfolded in the last day. That document I mentioned? It was the agreement Vivian signed for her investment portfolio. She forgot I didn't just guide her investments, I funded most of them. The agreement stated that if we separated, certain investments would need to be sold off immediately. But that's not what shook her. Last night, her sister Sophia called me in tears. She couldn't stay silent anymore. Ezekiel, she said, had done this before. 3 times. Targeting women like Vivian, using their networks, then vanishing once he got what he wanted. I already knew Ezekiel's pattern, but Sophia had new details. She sent screenshots of Vivian and Ezekiel's chats from 2 months ago, not just planning their affair, but discussing business deals using information I'd shared about my company's projects. Sophia added more. Vivian had asked her to hold on to some documents, claiming they were work backups. When Sophia checked them, she found Vivian had been moving large sums of money. I logged into our joint accounts and saw it. Big purchases disguised as household expenses. Art, designer furniture, even a new car, all within the last month, hidden as miscellaneous transactions. The kicker? She'd used our joint account for down payments, but funded the bulk through her company expense account, the one I'd helped her set up years ago, where I was still listed as a financial advisor. Time to show her the stakes. I texted her. Just had a chat with the board about last month's expense reports, and the couch looks nice. Original receipts would help. Her reply came in seconds, asking what I was talking about. I added that Ezekiel's history with Carson and Mills, 3 settlements in 2 years, was impressive. Her typing dots appeared and vanished repeatedly. Then she texted, saying we needed to talk. I replied that we would, after my meeting with the ethics committee tomorrow. Her next message showed real fear, begging to discuss it. I didn't answer. Instead, I forwarded Sophia's screenshots to my lawyer and drafted an email to the board about financial irregularities, keeping it unsent as a precaution. Damien came to the hotel with takeout and a USB drive. He'd found recordings of Ezekiel and Vivian's conversations, not just personal talk, but detailed discussions about upcoming projects and client data. Damien shook his head, saying Ezekiel was using her, and she was too caught up to see it. My phone kept buzzing with Vivian's texts, shifting from panic to pleading. I was wrong, she could explain. Don't act rashly. Her last message stood out. The board didn't need to know. We could work it out. I smiled and sent one final text. Check your email in 10 minutes, especially the attachment from March 15th. The day she signed the partnership agreement she hadn't read closely enough, giving me major control over the company's financial decisions. As I write, Vivian's flooding my phone. Ezekiel's name is gone from her social media. The designer couch she bought with company funds, proudly displayed in her photos, is now listed for sale online. Tomorrow I have a meeting. Not with the ethics committee, that was a bluff to shake her, but with someone who stands to lose much more if Vivian's actions come to light. I'll update once things are moving. For now, I'm watching her realize her better choice might cost her everything she's built, and I haven't even played my biggest move yet. Update 2. Things escalated faster than I expected in the last day. That meeting wasn't just about Vivian's expense reports. It was bigger. When I helped Vivian land her role 5 years ago, I didn't just make introductions. I invested heavily under a holding company she never bothered to look into. She was so thrilled about her new office that she signed the paperwork without reading it. This morning, I walked into the board meeting with every receipt, recorded conversation, and suspicious transaction from the past 3 months. I didn't show them yet. Instead, I laid out my shareholder voting rights. The chairman's shock was clear when he realized I was the silent partner for Morgan Holdings. I voiced concerns about certain executive decisions. My phone buzzed. Olivia, a colleague watching things, texted that Ezekiel had stormed out of Vivian's office, her in tears. Ezekiel had his own meeting that morning with his previous company's legal team, who were curious about confidential information leaking to competitors, perfectly matching his dinners with Vivian. I stayed in the board meeting just long enough to push for a full audit of executive expenses and let it sink in that the silent partner, owning 12% of the company, was her soon-to-be ex-husband. Vivian's messages flooded in. How long had I owned shares? Why didn't I tell her? Please, let's talk. I was going to ruin her career. I replied to the last one. She'd done that herself, and to check her email. I sent screenshots of her chats with Ezekiel about confidential company info and the partnership agreement with its ethics violation clause. Sophia called, saying Ezekiel dumped Vivian as a liability, and her executive account access was suspended. When I asked how Sophia knew, she admitted she'd suggested the audit to the board after seeing Vivian's documents. My lawyer called next. The board wasn't firing Vivian, that'd be too public. Instead, they gave her a choice: resign quietly or face a full investigation. Either way, her stock options were frozen. Damien texted to check the security cameras. Vivian was in our home office, frantically searching files. 3 years ago, I'd installed a hidden safe behind our Bali honeymoon painting, holding copies of every document and investment tied to her career. She tried the safe with our wedding date, her birthday, her promotion day, all wrong. The real combination was the date she signed the partnership agreement, the day she gained what she's now losing. The chairman called, wanting to discuss the company's future. On the security feed, Vivian sat at my desk, head in hands, the worn designer couch in the background. I told the chairman I'd be there in 20 minutes with ideas for restructuring the executive team. Tomorrow, Vivian will see the full extent of my influence over her career and every choice she thought was hers alone over the past 5 years. The best part? I never had to shout or threaten. Just let her actions catch up with her. One final update is coming. I still have one move left. Final update. A month has passed since my last update, and I waited until everything was settled to share the end. That final move wasn't just about shares or expense reports, it was far more deliberate. Take the couch, that $12,000 piece Vivian bought to impress Ezekiel. She used funds from a special account tied to an upcoming merger, the same merger Ezekiel was fishing for details about. I knew she'd do something flashy. 5 years of marriage taught me she loved to show off. So, 3 months before my Seattle trip, I started setting the stage. Every dinner conversation about my company's projects, every deal detail I shared was carefully chosen. Valuable sounding, but useless. The real deals were locked behind NDAs she didn't know about. The morning after my last update, the board held an emergency meeting. They laid out everything: Vivian's unauthorized expenses, leaked information, and recorded talks with Ezekiel. The final blow came from Sophia, who walked in with emails showing Vivian and Ezekiel plotting to profit from my insider info dated before my trip. Vivian claimed Ezekiel manipulated her, but Olivia revealed he'd been working with our competitor, feeding them misinformation I'd planted, costing them dearly. The board's decision was unanimous. Vivian was fired, her stock options voided, her industry reputation ruined. But there was more. That partnership agreement? It had a clause that ethical breaches triggered a review of all assets gained during the partnership. The house, bought with my guaranteed loan, her car, leased through the company I arranged, her designer wardrobe, mostly purchased with company funds I'd enabled, all were reclaimed. My lawyers left her with only her personal savings and unpaid student loans I'd stopped covering. Ezekiel vanished when things collapsed, but my private investigator documented his every move, transaction, and lie about his supposed wealth. Last week, Vivian sent a hand-delivered letter with the house key she'd made when she changed the locks and a note. She understood now that I hadn't just built her career, but designed its downfall. She was right. Every step, connection, and opportunity I gave her was built to collapse if she betrayed me. The couch, now in my new office, stands as a reminder that even the smallest choices can undo everything.